The RAFFLES Grand Hotel D'ANKKOR is, well, grand. Throwback grand for a modern era, but more importantly, grand in its contribution to putting Siem Reap on the map as an upscale tourist destination. Angkor Wat might have had something to do with that as well. I'll tell you all about it in this full tour. By the way, every hotel or resort that I've ever reviewed on the channel has always been done without the hotel's prior knowledge, and the price that I paid is always in the description. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best, most unique, or simply most popular airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full-time for going on 5 years. I'd love for you to know more about how I do things on the channel, so simply scan the QR code or check out my hundreds of videos to do so. Let's get into the tour. Welcome to Angkor Wat on a cloudy morning before sunrise. If you ever do go through the process of getting picked up at your hotel at 4 a.m. to see the sunrise, but then are greeted only with clouds, know that at least you're not going to have to deal with the glaring sun as you wade through the morning humidity. As we take in a couple impressions of Angkor Wat, let me explain how I got here. I've lived in Vietnam for over 10 years. My time there is winding down though. Of course I'll be back to Vietnam in the future, but I wanted to do one last hurrah for the channel from Vietnam before I left. I was thinking of what had I missed. The biggest hole on the channel is Da Nang, which I've been to many times, but that was all before the channel. Then I had unrealistic hopes that maybe the Park Hyatt Phu Quoc would open in time. Then I realized maybe the place that I've been missing on the channel all along isn't in Vietnam at all. My apartment is 32 miles from Cambodia. Saigon is a sprawling city, and at its furthest northwest corner, it's just 11 miles from the border. Perhaps Cambodia is the place that I needed to go to. Siem Reap to be exact, with its fantastic mix of hotels. And so here we are. When I was picking the hotels that I'd feature, I wanted something historic, that's Raffles, I wanted something central, that's Park Hyatt, and I wanted something wonderfully different, that's Shintamani Angkor. And over the next few weeks, I'll show you all three, each kicking off with an impression from a different temple or two from the world's largest religious structure on Earth. Welcome to Raffles. The hotel originally opened in 1932. Original plans and construction dates are a bit fuzzy due to the documents being lost during the Khmer Rouge, but we think that the construction began in 1929, financed by a French consortium which was building hotels in similar styles across Cambodia and Annam, which we now know as Central Vietnam. By the end of the 19th century, Angkor Wat had become a tourist destination, but it was missing the accommodation needed to grow the market. As we head inside and check out the lobby, the original timber elevator, which was the first of its kind in the region, and then the beautifully crafted conservatory overlooking the pool, let me tell you a bit more about the hotel's history. The planning of the hotel was led in part by the town planner, Frenchman Ernest Hebrard, with the goal of building a hotel worthy of the ruins just to the north, a way to accommodate wealthier explorers and tourists alike. "60 rooms were built, due south of Angkor Wat, which would complement the already standing bungalows D'ANKKOR, which were more basic accommodation at the foot of the ruins. When it came to hotel experiences, this was the creme de la creme, and the hotel was known as Le Grande. It was said that you would walk inside, sit down, and food would just appear. French-speaking staff were recruited from Saigon. The utmost care was put into every detail, and there was rapid growth throughout Siem Reap as the age of gorgeous hotels and the age of aviation suddenly made the world a much smaller place. And then of course, everything here took a very dark turn. Civil War, then Khmer Rouge. Fast forward to 1980, when the hotel reopened as the Hotel Samaki after years of closure. You can imagine things were not exactly bustling. Come December 1991, 2 months after the Paris peace agreements were signed, the hotel's renaissance began. In 1994, Raffles Hotels were entrusted with restoring both this property and the Hotel Le Royal in Phnom Penh. The Grand d'Angkor was closed for 3 years and reopened in 1997 with 119 rooms. Local ownership has changed hands since. Now the owner is the same as the Sofitel Legend Metropole in Hanoi, and it was again renovated in 2018. But otherwise, what you see here is what reopened. I'll let you have a look around the pool, grounds, and pool terrace area before we have a look at where we are. I'm considering to make a change to how I score hotels, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Right now, I score based on the exact price that I paid, but I'm wondering if that score should be based on the average price of the room throughout the coming year. Two sides to this coin. In defense of how I do things now, I always book publicly available rates. Just about anyone can book the exact same prices that I get. But I do generally try to book during low or shoulder seasons. Let's say I pay $200 for a hotel, and I give it a 90 out of 100. If I was instead considering that the average price of the hotel over the whole year is $400 a night, that score would be different. Anyway, I'm just thinking about it for changes that might come in 2026. Let me know what you think in the comments. Resort and hotel stays like this truly would not be possible without your support on Patreon. So if you appreciate these kinds of unsponsored videos, please consider checking out my page. You could also help the channel continue to grow by liking this video and subscribing to the channel, or joining my YouTube channel memberships. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. I had lunch at the pool terrace, and I need to call out prices here. The banh mi that I had was $25 all in, US dollars. To some, that might seem par for the course, but I'll point out that pricing in general in Siem Reap is exceedingly reasonable. Everywhere. Prices here at Raffles were 2 times higher than Park Hyatt, and almost 3 times higher than at Chintamani. These 3 hotels are more or less the same price. I don't mind fancy hotel pricing when it's warranted, but charging $7 for a soda in Siem Reap is robbery. Let's take a look at where we are. Siem Reap is more or less equidistant between Bangkok and Saigon and sees multiple daily flights from each of them, in addition to some further flung destinations. Siem Reap is on the northern shore of Tonle Sap, the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia, and is on the southern border of the full Angkor Wat complex. Raffles is on the main drag leading to the temples. Here's a new graphic to help you get a feel for what's in the immediate area. For urban locations like this, I'll focus on key sites or necessities within a 5-minute walk, as well as what's possible to see within a 10-minute drive. Depending on the location, the walking or driving times might change. Let me know what you think about this format. I've also tried to make this graphic a bit easier to understand, especially when it comes to the monthly planning bits. Behind the pool, there are some event spaces outside along with some tennis courts. If you notice the 3 smaller houses next to the pool, one is the spa and 2 are private villas. We're gonna head in the general direction of my room now, and as we do, I'll explain the 3 bones to pick, besides food pricing, that I had during my stay. First up was the service. There were a couple of bright spots here and there, and all of the staff were very well intentioned, but it felt like they were being required to be much more formal than they were comfortable with. This led to interactions which were unnecessarily awkward, cold, or just odd considering how rich and warm Khmer hospitality is. I stayed at the Ibis Styles for a few nights in town, and honestly, I preferred the vibe of the service there since everyone was just being themselves. I think Raffles needs to understand that not all Raffles need to have the full-on Raffles formality when it comes to service. My second bone to pick is purely personal taste. I think they could do more with the grounds. They just felt a bit stark, especially around the pool. I know that's the old school vibe that they're going for, but that whole pool area could be reworked to be just much more inviting and lush. The third thing is in my room. Well, the room itself. I had a standard king garden view room. These rooms are small, very small. I don't mind small rooms when it's a value brand or a historic building or things are just laid out efficiently. But I'll point out that this wing was added in the mid-90s when Raffles took over the property. So these rooms could have been whatever size they chose. When you see the closet and the shower, you'll really understand the frustration. If you're a couple coming here with 2 large suitcases, there is precisely no way to enjoy this room without blocking all of your floor space. I'll let you have a look around as I put up the extra bits. Wi-Fi in my room was painfully slow and inconsistent. It took multiple calls and around an hour to get the staff to send someone to reset something in the common areas, which improved the speed, but it still wasn't great. I think perhaps that writing antique telephone on the antique telephone replica kind of takes away a bit of the charm. Here we have the bathroom. The size of the bathroom overall I can work with, but not this layout. They could have either put in a smaller freestanding tub where the toilet and shower are, or got rid of it altogether. Here's my shower size comparison. This is my 21-inch carry-on bag. Not the American-sized bag. This is the international-sized carry-on bag. You could say the closet was even smaller, relatively speaking. If you travel with one of those trunk-style suitcases, I'm not sure you could even get it in here standing up. If you told me that this room was 150 years old and a protected monument and things like that, I wouldn't say a word about the size. But this is just not the case. Only some of the rooms have balconies, which in my case had a view of the gardens on the back side of the wing. Let's go take a look at the gorgeous elephant bar. I know it's hard to compare a bar to a pool, but I wish that some of this dark, rich vibrancy was the vibe that you would get at the pool as well. Almost like the pool at the Oberoi Udaivilis. During my stay, for dinner I only had one choice, 1932, their fine dining restaurant. I think because of occupancy during my stay, Café d'Angkor wasn't open. When I checked in, I was told that they had an a la carte menu and tasting menus. Both true. But the non-vegetarian tasting menus started at $82, and the a la carte menu was small enough to look like a tasting menu in its own right. So I went into town for dinner. I don't mind beautiful tasting menus that are sometimes pricey, but I don't like the practice of essentially making that the only option. The next morning, I headed to Café d'Angkor for breakfast. There was a very small continental spread, along with a substantial a la carte menu on offer. My eggs Benedict were very good overall, with a sauce that was phenomenal. The waffles were okay, perhaps lacking in flavor a bit. The good outweighs the bad here though with that wonderful a la carte menu, so breakfast overall is coming in at a solid 8. As we take a look at the spa and fitness center, let me wrap this up. I was surprised by my stay here. Because of some editing scheduling, I had to choose the order of these videos before I even visited, and I put Raffles up first because I thought it would be the star. For me though, the overly formal vibe, combined with the absurd food pricing and undersized rooms, left a lot to be desired. The good news is, now you know that Shintamani and Park Hyatt are going to be standouts, in very different ways from each other. So I really do hope that you enjoyed this full hotel tour today. If you did, please be sure to click the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss my twice weekly hotel and flight videos. I'll see you next time on Jin Air. As always, thanks for watching until the end.